Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As I wanted to discuss the Mars-Pluto opposition with you, but to also include the cradle aspect that is occurring with the other two outer planets, Neptune in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus. That changes the dynamic here and adds in more energies we need to consider and be aware of. So let me break this down. So you can see here, we have this Mars at 29 degrees of Cancer, 45 minutes, directly opposing Pluto, 29 degrees of Capricorn, 45 minutes. This chart is set for November 3rd, 2024, when they are in this exact opposition in Cancer and Capricorn. Now, it's important to note that because of the upcoming Mars retrograde, they're going to have two more oppositions, but Mars will be in Leo and Pluto will be in Aquarius. So this particular Mars-Pluto opposition in water, Earth, is interacting with the other outer planets, Uranus, 25 degrees of Taurus, 48 minutes retrograde, Neptune, 27 degrees Pisces retrograde. And this means that this particular opposition is calling in and working with the Neptune and Uranian influences. And this is happening through sextiles and trines. So in addition to one opposition, a cradle or trapezoid, as you can see, also has two trines and three sextiles. So this is actually more beneficial, positive, and even promising than what a typical Mars-Pluto opposition would have. Because now you have this Uranus sextiling Mars, sextiling Neptune, trining Pluto, and of course Neptune doing the same. Neptune interacting with the oppositional energies positively, providing openings. And that's one thing to keep in mind with the sextiles and the trines. There's openings, there's opportunities, there's things that are happening here. So yes, this intensity of the opposition is very real, and it's the polarizing influences here. It's the separation. This Pluto is strongest, and we know Pluto is at that final point of Capricorn, which is a crescendo. It's a grand completion. It's a big, huge demolition. It's reveals, brings to the surface. It's more intense when Pluto is at that anaretic final degree, opposing Mars also at the final degree of Cancer, but Mars returns here. So whatever Pluto unleashes, reveals, demolishes, and transforms, it's going to take time for this Mars to continue to work through it, specifically into April 2025. But with this connection, with this cradle aspect to Uranus and Neptune, the positive support of the sextiles and trines means that this is right on time. It's part of a bigger picture change that's already been unfolding. Finally, things are connecting. And with Uranus here, Uranus brings in the fast-moving change. There's a quickness with Uranus. It does feel slower in Taurus. And yet this Uranus is showing us what needs to be shaken up. And because the planets especially in this cradle aspect, are all in either final degrees or near the final degrees of these signs, there is not only a significant completion and mastery underway, but permanent changes are happening. And it's affecting us in multiple parts of our lives and ourselves. But with the sextiles and trines, we have tools, we have resources, we have options and choices to keep moving the energy. If you look at just these blue and the red line, there's always somewhere else to go. And with these complex aspects, I feel that it's also related to previous lifetimes where various energies have been mastered, have been in play, that we've handled well. We know what to do with it. We can make some new choices and different choices. And I see this complex aspect as showing us how are we going to turn the dial and move ahead now without repeating history or repeating the past, rather operating from a place of higher consciousness, good intentionality, deeper connection to our spiritual growth, to our soul's wisdom. What can we do now that elevates us and reminds us we have choices here? And so it's like if you were just to focus on the opposition at play, you're missing out on the good stuff of what needs to be revealed, what needs to come to the surface, what is happening that is shifting paradigms, changing the collective energy field, and presenting us with new ways of being in our mastery. The cradle aspect, again, it's a trapezoid, right? You can see that, trapezoid, is pulling in a lot of energy. And it can be a lot for this Mars in Cancer to feel. The container is full, perhaps overflowing. And that's the bursting point. The bursting point is this is a lot going on and I don't know how to handle all of it. So there's a lot of pressure on the Mars in Cancer. But there's also the need to let that energy flow, let it move. Don't be too stagnant. And know that there's support here as well. So even though Mars is opposing Pluto, Mars is trining Neptune in Pisces retrograde, your higher self. The point of you that can be disconnected from, if you're overly relying on only what's happening in the physical world, you could be disconnected from the parts of you that is trusting this journey and trusting what's unfolding. And so Neptune trining Mars. Now Neptune and Pisces can feel tired. It's a slowdown. It's the overwhelm. It's the fatigue. But the trine means to regulate it. The trine means to take a break, go slow, flow with it. And there's big downloads here from your higher self, giving you messages on how to cope with all the energies you're feeling. Self-care is important. Doing less, especially with the trine from Neptune and Pisces. Do less. Let yourself off the hook. Don't hold yourself to impossible standards, and you're going to flow better. The sextile from this Uranus at 25 degrees of Taurus retrograde is opening up the new options, possibilities that maybe you overlooked, and they're coming back with that retrograde, and they're presenting themselves in your physical world as a potential solution or option. off the wall, something that you actually can work with that will help with handling the chaos. And then, of course, this Uranus is trining Pluto. And Uranus is like, yes, the change is needed. The change is good. The change is happening for the betterment of the collective. It would be appropriate to feel rebellious, to want to step into your revolutionary power, to understand that a much bigger cycle is unfolding here that's really dynamic, and it's right on time. That's what this cradle aspect is signifying. This is right on time. But the only personal planet involved is Mars, our bodies, our emotional selves, our fear body, the overwhelm, the sense of how do I handle all this? And that is our assignment, to figure that out, to prioritize energetic management, emotional self-care, to be aware of responses, reactions, triggers, that tipping point. But Mars is in a conversation with the 3 outer planets, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Mars is the only personal planet in this conversation. And so it does relate to our physical selves, our bodies, what our body consciousness is telling us, which again, could be that you're exhausted or tired. Perhaps you feel energized and good to go. I think this means that energetic self-care is very important, because this is a big deal. And the Cancer energy is very sensitive, empathic, aware of what other people need, but make sure that you're tuning into what you need and what would support your physical self now in your daily energy, as these big energies are right on time. There's something positive happening with this Mars-Pluto opposition. It's breaking through, it's busting through. We're meant to see what's been hidden. We're meant to understand more of the craziness or the off-the-wall things that we maybe didn't realize were possible or going on. With all 3 planets, outer planets here, interacting with Mars in Cancer, stirring up our sense of family, connection, attachment, how you feel safe, where you go to get away from it all. It could feel like it's really hard to get away from it all. Wherever you go, something follows you, finds you. It's necessary to retreat, to be offline. It's necessary to take care of your own well-being. And then that positive energy, or that healthy part of you, then feeds this energy too, because it's always a two-way exchange here. Even though the outer planets dominate Mars because they are more influential and energetically bigger, and that's what the Mars energy will always sense. It's important to note that the Mars energy is connected to the cosmos here in this cradle aspect, and this Mars is also feeding back into the cosmos the energy of the sovereign individual. So allow the tension to awaken you. Allow the pressure to burst and guide you to more of what you need to know and understand. Allow the intensity of right now to be a gift that you actively work with, you receive it in a way that is healthy for you, and to not shy away from it. Because part of this energy is really important for us to take inventory and stock of what we need to know, what is truly important for us to know and understand. And so I feel that even though the tension between Mars and Pluto is a big deal, the support with the cradle from Uranus and Neptune is also a big deal and changes the energy field, where we can trust it's right on time. The universe has this. Trust what I'm feeling, where I need to take a break and lean back, and know that this is a very grand cycle, that things need to come to the surface, need to be released, need to be truly seen for what they are. And that's part of the assignment and work here of that Pluto at the final degrees of Capricorn. Again, a big crescendo, some really big things, very karmic, relating to leadership, CEOs, corporations, industries. There's going to be a lot tumbling down, falling down, big changes in our perceptions of Capricorn figures, politicians, government officials, institutions, agencies, getting more to the heart of what's going on, what's been going on, what we need to understand. You get the picture. We've been talking about this for a while now, but just know that this cradle aspect, I see this as a positive development overall. And if we can work with that, if we can accept that as part of the intention from the universe, it can help us move through this really big time period here in October and November 2024. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back with another video fairly soon, and be sure to check out more of my playlists if you'd like to see more about astrology or learning specifically about your chart. Thank you so much. I'll see you back here soon.